people. This is Bleakley. Bleakley from the movie. What was the name of the Lilo? Lilo and Aaron. Stitch. Lilo and Stitch. That's right. Yeah, I'm Bleakley. I'm not just some aging comic actor who just ran by Lake Champlain because he's doing a comedy set tonight at the Vermont Comedy Theater. And if you're around there, please come. Don't worry. You're probably saying, is it sold out? No. No. Is it half full? No. Legally, I have to do the show because the old showbiz saying is that you have to have more people in the audience than on stage. And there's 2 people in the audience, but I'm only a one-person act, so legally I have to. So we're not sold out. I'm Bleakley. I'm not Kevin McDonald from the Kids in the Hall. The weakest kid in the hall. No, you're not. Come on. I love mosquitoes. There. Hey, Jumba. Anyway, this is Bleakley. Hi, how you doing? And you're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Rachel. I'm Bleakley, played by Kevin McDonald, the weakest actor of the Kid in the Hall. I'm playing tonight, and I've ruined my voice doing Bleakley. I hope you're happy, you Kevin, Danny, Eli, Rachel people. Now listen to Magic Our Way. I listen to it all the time. I'm lying. I've never heard of it.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, we invite you to feel the libations.
Feel it, feel it.
We are artistic buffs talking about Disney stuff, and this is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicArray.com is where you can find us. For the hub, we are talking about all this Snow White live-action movie issues and stuff, and Dinklage and dwarfism, and all the stuff that's been happening in the past, week, year, what have you. This thing's been going on for a while.
Yes.
And look, this isn't your typical polished practice Pixie Dust and Disney podcast. No way. We are not in the parks every day, which means we did not get a chance to be in Disneyland for its 68th anniversary back on July 17th.
But I will be there.
You will be there? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, as a whole, we do want to wish Disneyland a happy anniversary anyway. Woo! Woo!
That's right, Kev. We're here to drink, talk some Disney, and tell you our thoughts on Snow White and the 7 Dorks.
Yeah, so we're just going to give you something to think up while we drink up.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Rachel.
So guys, look, enough of our jibber jabber. Let's get to Snow White news.
Disney has come under fire after pictures have surfaced showing the diverse group of magical creatures who've replaced the 7 Dwarfs. Now, before we get too far into discussing this, I'd first like to get into, let's call it the problematic history of Disney's live-action remake of Snow White.
Yeah, because we've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah,
right?
This has been going on since 2020. And then that's where we start off at. In 2020, Snow White was originally set to begin production. I think it was March. But COVID delayed the start of production on Snow White. Then in June of 2021, production picked up and we learned that Rachel Zegler from West Side Story would be playing Snow White. However, that elicited some questions from fans who pointed out the character is named Snow White because her skin is white as snow. And Rachel's of Colombian descent.
Ooh.
So she's more olive-complected.
Well, like us.
Yeah, she's kind of like me. Yeah, which led to a bunch of people automatically questioning, what is Disney doing? They're back to their old tricks again. Then, in early January of 2022, we find out that Andrew Burnap has been cast as the male lead in Snow White, but he's not playing Prince Charming, as this film won't have a Prince Charming.
What?
No Prince Charming in Snow White.
That's what it is.
No. This Snow White is a strong, independent female character.
No Prince Charming.
Don't need a Prince Charming.
That's not charming.
Instead, Burnap is going to be playing a lead character known simply as Jonathan. Yes. Jonathan Charming. No Charming.
Not Charming.
No.
Joe Nathan.
Jonathan Florian. I think is that his correct name? Florian. the Prince Florian, or is that maybe I'm thinking of Aurora?
You mean the actual prince name?
The prince name.
I don't know. I thought he just had the carousel behind the castle. Is that him? Or is that somebody else's castle?
Something like that.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
Prince Castle.
less than 2 weeks after we learn about that, Peter Dinklage goes on Mark Maron's podcast and questions Disney's live-action remake of Snow White, saying, "You're progressive in one way, but then you're still making that backwards story about 7 dwarves living in a cave together. What the are you doing, man?"
Wow.
Yeah, we covered this back on for show number 406.
We did.
Yeah.
When it first came out.
I
Yeah.
remember this.
And Disney quickly responded to Peter Dinklage by saying, to avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated films, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. However, they couldn't have talked too long with members of the dwarfism community because a day later it was being reported that the dwarves were out and the new casting sheets for Snow White described their replacements as 7 magical creatures.
7 magical
I remember
creatures.
this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like unicorns and dragons stuff. Because that I would see that.
rhinoceroses.
Yeah. I would. See that.
Snorlaxes and Pokemon.
Yeah.
No.
Pikachu comes out singing hi ho. I would watch that.
Ah, sure.
Was your
why
boy from
not?
Neverending Story in there? Or was that? What was it?
Atreyo?
Atreyo, yeah.
Atreyo could be a yes.
Oh
Oh,
my.
I'm in now.
Now, I can tell you, I think we gave it more thought than they did, though.
Oh.
Like, who wouldn't want to see Hercules as one of the magical creatures?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Or at
That's
least
happening.
it's- Or at least it's a unicorn with the feathers.
Yes.
Yeah, be like, hell with Jonathan, we got Hercules.
Now, actors in the dwarfism community spoke out against this change. Specifically, Dylan Postel, who Eli and I know very well. He was Hornswoggle from WWE. He was
Right.
also in the Leprechaun remake. He was
Is it Muppets?
Muppets Most Wanted. Thank you. He was the most vocal because he said that this robbed the dwarfism community of acting roles that are very hard for that community to come by.
I can see that.
Yeah. Wee Man from Jackass spoke out. A couple of dwarf actors spoke out. I don't want to say a couple because it was at least upwards of 5 to 7 that I saw that were well known.
I like Wee Man.
Yeah.
Remember Wee Man?
So then in March of 2022, the set for the live action remake of Snow White, which was built at Pinewood Studios in the UK, caught fire, was severely damaged and had to be rebuilt.
Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking that either Walt's ghost did it or that even God doesn't like Disney remakes. I don't know. But yeah, the whole set burned to the ground.
Wow. We dare you to make this movie.
Yeah. Maybe not the whole set, but a good portion of the set. That thing went up.
Enough to be inconvenient. For
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, come on. The whole set was built out of wood.
They needed brick.
Right. So then in July of 2022, I was relieved to hear some positive news about this Seven Dwarfs remake, and that Martin Kleba, best known as Marty from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, announced that he was just done filming Snow White and that he was set to play Grumpy.
Oh, cool.
So I kind of thought that, okay, well, cool. Disney is sticking with the dwarves after all, and they're casting actors from the community. However, currently, Kleba's IMDb page doesn't list him as an actor in the film. It merely lists him as a technical advisor.
He's telling him how to be short?
I don't know.
How to be a pirate?
Yeah.
How to be a dwarf? I don't know. Maybe that's part of it, because when you see what we just saw, which is that this last week we saw leaked photos and video that appeared to be from Disney's Snow White production. Showed an actress in a red hood and a cape and Snow White's distinctive yellow and blue dress underneath that, and following her were 7 actors of varying size, ethnicity, and gender.
Beautiful.
Now, how do I put this? This is a Disney podcast. So if you listen to this, you've probably already seen the photos. But if you haven't seen the photos, I suggest you Google search them, because it looks like Renaissance Festival rejects.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through it as best as I can. Again, I would just suggest that you go see the photos. I'm going to start from back to front. I'm going to start from the last dwarf or magical creature all the way to the front, from back to front. The last guy looks like the lead singer of the Spin Doctors. Then as you go up, you get Rudy and Bud from the Cosby Show.
And Bud.
But then next up, apparently, I think Ignatius Riley got a job at Medieval Times. Then you get a homeless Owen Wilson. Then there's Carlito from the WWE. And then finally, we have a magical creature played by an actor of a small stature. And that magical creature does not appear to be Martin Kleba. But these shots use stand-ins. So maybe Kleba is grumpy on this film. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they're using the dwarf personalities that we know from the film, or they're not. So that's kind of what we're left with. And needless to say, these leaked photos sent social media into a tizzy. People were tearing into Disney for, once again, changing the original story to fit their social political agenda or whatever. And Disney originally denied that the photos were real, and they called them fake and not from their production of Snow White.
Oh, okay.
However, they had to amend that statement later and say that the photos were from the production, but they weren't official photos.
So they lied, kinda, sorta.
Either
Because they don't have the real actors.
Yes.
Or at least some of them aren't the real actors.
Right. And definitely Snow White was not the real actress, or however you want to say the word. Jonathan, not Prince Charming, Jonathan wasn't the real actor. The 7 magical creatures we don't know about because we've never seen any indication of who these people are. So we don't know if they're stand-ins or not. Like I said, that didn't look like Martin Kleba to me.
No,
it definitely doesn't.
But again, since they're using stand-ins for 2 of the main actors, maybe they're using stand-ins across the board. I don't know. Since then, all kinds of rumors have started about emergency meetings and problems that Disney is having going forth. For starters, apparently when the project was greenlit, the dwarves were supposed to be CGI models of the original dwarves from the original 1937 film, with voice actors from the dwarfism community performing the voices.
makes sense.
Right. That sounds like a great compromise, you would think. But now, allegedly, the look, voices, and personalities of the new dwarves are said to have no resemblance to the 1937 film whatsoever. So no grumpy, no happy, no sleepy, no dopey.
Huh.
That's a rumor, though. Can't confirm it. We can look at what we've seen and try and figure out what's what. But yeah, I don't know how to take this. Also, it's been said that Disney fired the entire Snow White marketing team in charge of promoting the film. As well as the people responsible for putting together the trailer. Apparently, Disney's looking to debut the trailer at D23 in September.
Okay.
And the version that was created up until this point showed way too much of the dwarves, while this backlash. So they allegedly, again, this is all rumor, fired that production team, fired the trailer team, contracted a new company to create a completely different trailer with more of a focus on Snow White and the Evil Queen. There's also a rumor that the sequence where the 7 magical creatures or dwarves or whatever the hell you want to call them sing Hi Ho, that the Hi Ho song was remixed into a pop song. And
Taylor Swift sings it.
my understanding is it's worse than the Scuttlebutt song from The Little Mermaid. I never heard the Scuttlebutt song from The Little Mermaid. Kevin, you
Yeah, I
did.
didn't.
I like it. Yeah.
You like it?
That's like
Okay.
the only of the new songs that's in there that I like.
Okay, so the person reporting on this said it was worse than that. So apparently you have a negative opinion. You have a high opinion. I don't know. I've never heard the damn song. There's more rumors out there about this. I mean, this is apparently has just been a huge cluster.
Snafu, kerfuffle.
Damn. I know.
But having recapped all that, I think that's enough for us to kind of begin our own discussion on this. So what do you guys think?
Man, just say no to the live action remake.
Yeah.
I mean, leave Snow White alone. Just come up with something more creative.
Well, yeah, I guess that's my overall thought too.
Yeah.
Like we've had Snow White remakes, like not that long ago.
Yeah.
My main feeling is like, why are we doing this in general?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
do think there's more to this story that's worth talking about.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Even though that's true. Even though, like, why are we doing this?
To piggyback off of what y'all were just saying, yeah, like once you've changed the character of Snow White, you've altered the dwarves, you eliminated Prince Charming, at what point are you not telling the Snow White story? At what point are you making up
Sure.
your own thing?
Right.
Yeah, just great. Just don't call it Snow White.
Yeah,
Wow.
just make a whole new movie.
Call it like Crawl Point 2 or something.
I
don't know.
loved Crawl.
But I mean, if we're living in a society that deems it too offensive to cast dwarves to play dwarves, then why are we making this movie?
That's a great point. That's very well said.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I agree. I just, because I feel like the story of Snow White isn't all that compelling anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if it's not a compelling story to begin with, and there's this like potential problematic hurdle, it does feel a little bit like, why are we doing that?
Well, it's like Snow White as a character was just a really nice person who touched everyone that she was around. And so if you're doing away with Prince Charming, you're doing away with the dwarves, and now you got to turn Snow White into this ultra badass, you're not really telling the story of Snow White. So I can see, yeah, it's kind of less interesting.
Yeah, well, it defeats the whole purpose of the narrative. That's the main thing. I mean, I don't have a problem if she wants to be an independent character, but the time it was all set in, I mean, there was love involved, friendship. That was what the whole thing was about. Underneath, they just tear that all apart. That's not Snow White. I don't know who this is.
It's like they're saying we can't tell this story in today's day and age.
No.
And if you can't tell the story in today's day and age, why bother making it in the first place? Like, people make movies all the time, and it's based off a book, and sometimes that source material needs to be altered because the book's so long, or the scenes don't translate well to screen, or there's all kinds of different problems that come along with it. But you're making a movie that's based on a movie that's already been made, a highly successful movie at that. So
won awards and everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that we're just having trouble translating the original source material into the film. It's like we just don't feel like this is appropriate to translate to film. Then don't touch the freaking movie. But at the same time, then you got to explain to me the hypocrisy behind why is it okay to have the dwarves in your theme park? Why is it okay to have a major attraction based on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Why is it okay to still offer storybook dining at Artist Point with Grumpy and Dopey? Why are the dwarves okay in the theme park, but they're not okay in the movies?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah. I mean, it's like, if they release this movie, what do they do with that? Are they going to update those attractions to reflect the movie? Or
I don't know.
They'd be crazy to do that.
It might be Tiana time.
Tiana time.
Tiana's taking over entire park?
I have to imagine that this live action is going to be a complete retelling because they're just changing so much, right? It's going to have to be a complete retelling.
Yeah.
And so I guess, that's kind of an exciting idea. I like that Disney says that they've been talking to the dwarfism community about how they would want to be represented. But what I think is hard about that is that it's pretty obvious that they don't all agree. Like any community doesn't all agree, right?
Yeah.
There's no community that everybody is in complete lockstep agreement with each other on everything.
Sure.
So I like that they're doing that, but then at the same time, I hear the point of some of the other celebrities that are commenting saying like, this took a job away from me. And I don't think that that's progressive at all.
100%.
That makes sense too. So I mean, I can hear both sides of it for sure. And it does feel a little bit like Disney, if you're already in a thicket of briars, right? Like, and you're, why do this now if there's no way to kind of do it in a way that makes everybody happy?
I couldn't agree more.
Plus, it's not that compelling of a story.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that makes Snow White fun for me are the dwarves. You take the dwarves out of Snow White, and I don't care anymore.
Well, they're the most colorful characters of that story, yeah.
Again, she's a great character in the sense that she's really kind and touches everyone she sees, but, I mean, she's kind of secondary to her story. She's just somebody who things happens to.
Yeah.
She's a trusting person, so you need somebody else to kind of spur the action along, and the only thing you can do is make Snow White Rambo, I suppose.
Okay, now we talking. She gets to fly a helicopter.
I could also see, like, if they were going to have had this movie out and produced by this year, having it done for the Disney 100 makes some sense, right? Because it's the first feature-length animated film that they did. And so I could understand that. Like, maybe that's why we're going back to this well, is because we're celebrating the Disney 100. But it's not going to be out this year.
No.
Yeah, it's the same people that, the Hatbox Ghost is not going to be opened in time for the movie.
That still kills me. It still kills me.
I still think they will. I'm putting in my vote that they're going to get that Hatbox Ghost.
I hope you're right.
Oh, really?
I think it's just going to show up one day. I think between now and the first Halloween party, we're going to see it. That's my prediction.
I think that would be 1,000% on the money, but they're shutting it down for a couple of days, and people are already saying, nope. Not going to happen.
Too many.
I know. I just don't. That doesn't
seem to jive.
So wild to me that they wouldn't do that. I'm just like, I think those people are wrong. I think it's going to just show up.
Yeah.
Now, and look, I also want to be clear because a lot of people are blaming Peter Dinklage for all that.
Sure.
And I want to say real quick that I think that's kind of unfair to blame Peter Dinklage for what Disney is doing. Disney is doing this out of their own reconnaissance. Like, Peter Dinklage did not go on a campaign to try to bring this movie down. He was having an interview with Mark Maron on Mark Maron's podcast, and Mark Maron kind of pressed him on what he meant when he was talking about different issues with people still not respecting people within his community, and his remarks were kind of made off the cuff. He was like, well, like, hey, look what we're doing there with the Snow White movie. And he kind of made it off the cuff, and he kind of said like that they lived in a cave, which anybody who knows the story knows that's not true. So clearly he really hadn't educated himself completely 100%. He was just speaking off the cuff. He hasn't said a word about this remake since this has happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are still blaming him for what this is. Don't blame Peter Dinklage. Don't blame Rachel Ziegler for Disney casting her. That's who Disney wanted. Don't blame the 7 actors who are playing the dwarves or the magical creatures, whatever. This is a Disney decision. So that's the one thing that I would like to get across is like, hell, if they gave me, I'd play Snow White. I'm a little darker than Rachel, but I think I could pull it off.
I know you look great. In the
Offer me $100,000 to play. I'll do that.
You gonna fly a helicopter?
Damn straight.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The WWE guy in an article, he called Dinklage a King Dwarf. He's not King Dwarf or something like that.
He's not King Dwarf.
Which I thought was funny.
It was funny, but at the same time, and we covered it when he talked about it, but at the same time, like, find one interview with Peter Dinklage since that interview with Mark Maron. Peter Dinklage. Now, if Peter Dinklage came out today and said, no, I love this recast version of the Seven Dwarfs, this is perfect, then okay, fine. But it's not his fault that the internet ran with that interview. Like, somebody heard it and like, this will cause a buzz, and they ran with it.
Yeah.
And Disney changed their idea towards doing it.
My only takeaway is if I'm Disney, I'm like, look, we've already made this movie. This is what you're getting. And if you don't like it, don't see the movie. That's totally up to you. But like you say, you've dined with the dwarves. You've taken pictures with Snow White.
Be consistent.
I've told this story before. When I made Geisha, I would let people see the book. And one of the first things people would tell me is, why did you make the character black? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? It's like, hey, just read the book. Just, I made it. You enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, that's totally cool. But I'm not changing this and changing that because you want to, and then you don't even go see the movie.
Well, you're making a story about a geisha. The idea that the geisha would be black would be... Yeah.
Right. But I mean, anything's possible, right? That's the whole point of this whole thing, right? In this progressive time, you're supposed to overlook these things and then just think about how do you appease every single type of person, gender, size. You can't do it. You just can't do it. All you can do is say, hey, we like this narrative. This is what we're going with. We hope you enjoy it. Please view it.
No, look.
Yeah, it's like what we said last week. It's like you have to concentrate on a good story.
Yeah.
And to Rachel's point, it's not a very compelling story.
No, it's not.
No.
I like that they're getting rid of Prince Charming.
Really?
Because of the kiss
or
thing?
actually, I take it back. It's not Prince Charming. It's just the prince.
Just
I forgot about
John.
that.
So
He's just in the animated feature. He's just the prince.
just a prince. Okay.
Yeah.
So Prince Charming is from what? Aurora?
Cinderella.
Cinderella. Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Tell me
Oh, yeah.
princess.
There's a lot of princes, yeah.
Yeah,
they made fun of
Aurora
that
is
in-
Prince Philip.
Oh, okay.
yeah. And they,
Yeah.
they even made fun of it in Wreck-It Ralph 2, right? When Vanellope, is it
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph? Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph 2, where Vanellope's like, oh, you need a big, strong man to come save you, whatever else.
Oh, that's right, with all the princesses
Yeah, and
got
all the
together.
princesses were
That's
kicking
right.
butt. Yeah.
We don't need no man.
And they made
Yeah, I
fun
like
of
that.
the Merida.
I enjoy that too, to a degree, but at a certain point, like, how many strong princesses that just kick ass and like, I don't need a man kind of stories we're going to tell? Seriously, can there be a princess out there that believes in true love?
I didn't see The Little Mermaid. Kevin, was that like Eric Ariel dynamic still the same?
For the most part, it wasn't as in your face as like the cartoon version, you know? I can't remember who fights Ursula. Think about it, because I only saw it once. But I remember, in the cartoon, it was like
Sounds like a memorable movie, Kevin.
it was like I never said it was memorable.
I like Scuttlebutt.
I just there's certain aspects of it, and I like the music, and that's what I enjoyed of it. It just took me back to the 1990 thing. But yeah, I can't remember. I know Eric doesn't. Spoilers in case anybody, but Eric doesn't drive the boat into Ursula.
Okay.
I forget how they dispatch her off the top of my head. I don't remember exactly how that worked in the movie, but it definitely wasn't as here's the big guy saving whatever else. It didn't. I noticed that. I could be wrong. Maybe I just overlooked it. And but it definitely wasn't enough in the forefront to where it would have stuck out in my head. Something happened, and all of a sudden, they're together. That was it.
It seems to be a consistent theme in what Disney is doing now. It's like the male characters in the movies, especially the remakes, kind of take a back seat to the princess who is the star of the show, which I would think is rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But in doing
she
so,
makes the money, Danny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's not Seven Dwarfs and Snow White. Right.
So this one, they changed the name. It's just Snow White, if you look it up.
Yeah, they completely did away. Yeah, because,
Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
Snow White.
They realized the Seven Dwarfs were not going to be utilized. But in doing that, they kind of make the prince or the male lead stupid.
Well, like a buffoon, yeah.
Yeah, they make you a buffoon, kind of off the top of my head, Elemental. That dude, Wade, my God. I wanted to punch that guy. Like, he was just such a crying wuss of a character.
Literally.
Nothing that you could identify with.
Yeah, I was just thinking back to the other live action remakes, and I was thinking that Beauty and the Beast, they kept it pretty much the same story. Like, Beast was still, strong Beast. Like, the romance was still a big part of it. I didn't see Aladdin. I actually haven't seen the Aladdin remake, the live action. Is Aladdin still sort of the protagonist? I assume so. It's named after him. I don't think they made it Jasmine.
Oh, Blue Smith?
I watched 10 minutes and fell asleep and never put it back on again.
I know. Guys, is that not the summary of all of this, though?
Yes.
It's like, who is dying for these live action remakes?
Thank you.
Oh, there's data somewhere. It tells them you got to do it.
I feel like I'm probably, one of their target markets, right? I'm like a millennial. I have young kids.
Yep.
I loved these movies as a kid. So why wouldn't I take my kids to them? And I don't know. We're not going. I don't know who's going to these things and loves them.
Nobody. I mean, you just saw it with, what was the latest live action the Little Mermaid. That's losing money too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like these live action remakes are losing money. Nobody wants them. They seem to think these movies are problematic, but that they can fix them by remaking. And that's the thing. Don't try to fix these things. Either embrace what they are or leave them the hell alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a new one. Make your own mythos. And you say, hey, we got everything we want in there. And that's probably the better way to do it.
That's how they make more money that way.
Yeah.
Like Frozen.
Yep.
We went to go see that a bunch of times in the theaters.
Encanto.
Moana, Encanto. I'm excited about the Wish movie. I think it's just called Wish.
I want to see that as well.
I'm curious.
I'm excited about it. We'll totally go take the kids.
Oh yeah, but I was excited about Elemental as well, and I'm
but we knew that one was going.
They get themselves caught in this quagmire every single time they try to remake something with a problematic history by today's standards that they don't want to stand behind.
Right, like in AEW, they use the term the 4 pillars. I mean, this is one of their pillars. These classics is what brought our parents and grandparents to the parks to go and spend the money so that they're able to make these movies now. Whoever the people are that are able to try to control this situation where they want all these things altered, these people just showed up to the dance. They haven't been here long enough. Just take it for what it is and just say, hey, oh yeah, I like Disney. This is what built Disney. I support. If these guys are, again, serving us food and these character meals and stuff, what is the big deal with seeing them on the screen?
I agree with that, and I'm probably going to get in trouble here.
I'm already in trouble.
But I think Disney forgets that being a fan is short for fanatic. And a fanatic is somebody who exhibits excessive passion and devotion towards something they love. So when you say, hey, we're going to take what you love and we're going to remake it, the minute things start being announced that doesn't jive with the original is the minute most fans are like, no.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of fans, when they announced that The Little Mermaid was going to be black, a lot of fans said things and people were quick to label them, you're racist, can't, you think beyond that. Like, it's just such simple, reductive reasoning. Oh, well, then if you don't like that, that must mean you're this or you're that or you're the other. No, people just don't seem to understand that when you're a fan and the people who are going to remake your movie or tell this new story don't respect the source material, that's automatically going to cause an issue. I'm still young enough that I can remember when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, the internet lost its mind. Well, there was no internet then. But collectively, comic book fans lost their friggin' mind.
Yes.
When Heath Ledger was cast to play the Joker, the internet lost its mind.
Oh.
Like, they're like, you're casting a teen heartthrob to play the most sadistic. What is wrong with you? This is going to be terrible. It's going to be a failure. How many people got pissed off when they cast a blonde-headed Daniel Craig to play James Bond?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
They went nuts. That's how fanatics work. When you disrespect the source material, they react. And we're just so quick to label these people as whatever evil thing we can label them to dismiss their opinion and move forward. And by the way, let's get to some decisions that weren't so good. Sonic the Hedgehog. You remember how many people lost their friggin' minds over Sonic the friggin' Hedgehog?
Yeah, his teeth, because he had teeth or something like that. Dude.
How many?
Oh, really?
How many Star Wars fans went crazy when Greedo shot first? Just saying. Why are they replacing the guns in ET with walkie-talkies? That's how fans work. When you're fanatic about something, don't change it.
Don't change it.
But instead of that, we're just going to label these people as
weirdos and cruels and
whatever evil we can put upon them. They have a valid opinion. That's what Disney's trying to do. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. We want to appeal to the people who already love the source material while pissing them off because we want to change it because we want to appeal to a new audience that may or may not show up for this.
And their new audience is flaky. I mean, for lack of a better word. And we said this before, like if you say, hey, I would like Black Mermaid, all right, great. You got it, right? That doesn't change anything. The people that got to see the movie, they're like, oh, yeah, I got to see on screen. Okay, cool. So are you going to go ahead and see Little Sister Mermaid 2 when it come out? No, not really. Why not? Because if you want this agenda to keep going forward, the only way people understand you is when you vote with your money. That's it. So you got to keep doing that. But if you don't want to do that, you're just disrupting the narrative, the creativity of what Disney is about for pretty much nothing. If you really just want everything to change, go out in the real world. There you go. Go out there and tell somebody that, like, hey, I like the way you treat that bum right there because of whatever reason. And then go ahead and help that person out. Now you're really a hero. But don't try to control something fictional. You know what I mean? Because that seems to be easy if you put something on Twitter. Nah, be in the doubt about it. Go out there in the real world. Help me out. Help me. I'm struggling.
You and I have done like a lot of cartoon and comic projects over the years. And those characters that we created were sacred to us.
Yeah.
How would you feel if somebody came along and took one of your characters and say, like, yeah, that's nice and all. I'm going to change this character just because we want a checklist of different people that we'll see as this film as much. Like, how would you feel about that if it was your characters that they're changing? I mean, like, how do you think the Brothers Grimm would feel like if you came to them and say, look, we're going to make your story into a movie, but no more dwarfs. We're getting rid of the dwarfs. We're going to change this. I mean, Hollywood is so hypocritical. Like, they're so nervous about AI taking over for writers or CGI taking over for actors. They're like, that's not fair. That's not right. That shouldn't happen. But they have no issues changing the stories and changing the intent of people who wrote stories that have passed on and, you know, and remaking them in whatever way they seem fit.
I think it was crazy is, I know this is kind of jumping the shark a little bit, we come back, but it's like, you hear all this talk with Hollywood saying, yeah, we want to care about you and this and that, who you are. You know how many slave movies have existed in my lifetime? I don't need anymore, but they still keep making them. I'm pretty sure the African American community is like, sir, good sir, we do not need to see ourselves whipped, beaten, and then watch the person get an Academy Award for it. Please, can you CGI that some? Can you turn that person into a dwarf? Like,
now, don't make the mistake of speaking for a whole community.
Nah, you know.
Well, that's true.
Don't do a Dinklage.
Hey, that's okay.
You're not King.
I know,
American.
King of Zamunda. Aha.
I do think representation is important and that it matters. I do think that it's good that Disney is trying to be representative of more different types of people. I think all of that does matter. I think that the sum of it matters too. Personally, I don't mind, you know, if the Little Mermaid is Black or that Snow White is going to be Latina. All of that is good to me. But what I think is more powerful is having new stories that showcase those cultures and those people in a way that really celebrates their culture, right? Like if we want to celebrate you said Rachel is from Colombia.
Yes.
Is that right? Yes. That actress, she's Colombian. Mm-hmm. So if we want to celebrate Colombians, like they did with Encanto, right? But let's let that speak, right? Let's really celebrate Colombians.
Amen.
Instead of celebrating a Colombian actress in a European story.
Well said.
Everyone universally loved Encanto. Everyone universally loved Moana. Everyone universally loved Coco. That is the biggest evidence of a lack of racist mindset in the average Disney fan. It's more the sense of, yes, tell us an original story. But if you're going to go back to the well and tell us the old story, don't pander. Don't change something that we love to make it something beyond that. Because once, again, I said it when we started this podcast, once it's too toxic to cast dwarves as dwarves, you might have jumped the shark.
Yeah, you killed the whole thing.
You might have gone a bit too far.
I wonder, I don't know if this helps kind of like progress what we're thinking about, but I think about Hamilton, and that is like, obviously Alexander Hamilton is a story about a white guy, right?
Yeah.
But the way Lin-Manuel Miranda did it was so cool for showcasing other cultures and having, the colorblind casting and all of that. And it added to that story so much. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder, could we do that with Snow White? Could we retell that story in a way that makes it new and like really exciting because it's so different? Although I guess in the case of Hamilton, it's the way that Lin-Manuel did it was so unique.
I was going to say, that would be my one issue what you just said. He created a whole new way of storytelling.
Right.
And a whole new way of doing a musical. It was like a rap musical. Yeah. And so having people of different ethnicities play those roles worked a whole lot better. But let me ask you this. Would you feel comfortable if Disney remade Princess and the Frog and cast Julia Roberts to be Tiana?
No, I wouldn't. No, that's true. Yeah.
100%.
I wish they would just do some new stories.
Well, that's one thing is that just shows further supports something we said last week, where there is a lack of creativity in the Disney company right at this moment.
And look, hey, maybe this is a good note to end it on. Moana, Coco, Encanto, all these stories, they give me hope that there are original thinkers over there. We all know these live action remakes are just landmines. You're just tiptoeing through the landmines when you make these things because you can only upset the apple cart in a sad effort to just kind of recoup money off of something that has already been successful. Again, like I said, you're trying to appeal to a base audience while screwing them and appealing to a different audience that might not see it. But I'm just thinking to myself, there are incredibly imaginative people at Disney that have great new stories to tell. It's just the whole, oh, wait a minute, this has name value, this has cachet, we can make a mint off of producing this. And so they do these remakes and we all suffer for it. And who knows, maybe because this has been so problematic, maybe this is the beginning of the end of the live action. I mean, they got to be running up on now.
I was going to say never. I don't see that being the
what's
Did
left?
Do Bambi yet?
Yeah, Fox and the Hound, the live action remake. Bambi.
Oh, yeah. Robin Hood.
Sword and Stone.
Robin Hood. Actually, you know what? The Robin Hood one I would actually be excited about. There's a lot of room to redo that story.
Oh, yeah.
I would 100% love a Robin Hood remake.
I did
like that story.
That's maybe the best idea for a live action remake I've ever heard.
So would you...
Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. I'd love a Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
That's like part live, part cartoon. Oh, that would be a good remake, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that movie never quite hit as big as it should have, and I think a nice retelling of that, put that over the moon.
Sure.
Sword in the Stone could be cool with Merlin.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Madam
Mim.
That would make that sword in Fantasyland more relevant again.
Yeah, that's the secret, right? Remake the stuff that didn't hit as big. Leave the stuff that hit big alone.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just my kids, but my kids actually really like that era of movies a lot. The Sword in the Stone, the Robin Hood. those are movies they really enjoy. They would be pumped if they redid those. Yeah, I don't know if that's just them or what. But.
No, that makes sense. That's like like the Guardians of the Galaxy theory, because that's a movie that wasn't a very popular comic book, but it worked because it was so obscure.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Like, I liked Bedknobs and Broomsticks more than I like Mary Poppins.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, that works, man. We definitely want to hear your thoughts about this. As always, on Magic Our Way podcast, all opinions are welcome. So we want to hear them, man. And we're about to tell you how to do that in just a little bit.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin.
And welcome to Guest Services, the segment in which we get to service you, the listener. And we got one particular message here that I just want to give a shout out to. This is a longtime listener, Tommy B.
Tommy!
Yeah.
Tommy!
He sent me a direct message and made a couple of comments. And he says this, Tommy, and I quote Tommy. He says, I love your comment about businessmen making data-driven decisions. It's so interesting that this conversation about the Iger extension reminds me of so many aspects of education these days. All business and data, not enough focus on creative ideas for educating children. And then he goes on to say, I love those type of shows. Those are some of my favorite, that and trip reviews, specifically the ones about food and drink.
Well, that's what we love to do, is eat and drink. You can only ride Haunted Mansion so many times.
Right.
At some point in time, you got to get out there and enjoy everything else that the world has to offer, and food and drink is the best way to do it.
So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's right in the intro.
That's right in our wheelhouse.
Yeah. And he likes the type of shows that, that we're talking about commentary and all that kind of stuff. Whatever else. So he definitely enjoys that. Yeah.
And we enjoy it too.
I'm just glad that he appreciates our commentary on what goes on in the Disney world. And that not only that, but reciprocates with it.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, because you never know how people feel when you say something. And that
it just goes out in the ether. You never hear back. But he says this is some of his favorite shows.
Oh, well,
that and Trip Reports.
Look, hey, you're going to hear a lot of that, unfortunately, going forward.
Yeah, a lot of trips to be had for sure. So, Tommy, man, shout outs to you, man. Always great to hear from you. Glad you're still listening to us. And yeah, man, send us your comments and your thoughts of any of this stuff. Let us know what you think. It's always welcome on the show. Welcome to The Q, the segment in which we get to discuss all the news and happenings in the world of Disney today. But today, on this particular version of The Q, we are talking about all the news and happenings that's happening in the Magic Our Way universe.
Why not?
Why not? Specifically, thanks to Drake.
Yes.
Longtime listener. Reminded us that fantasy football is around the corner.
Woo!
And if you've been around the show long enough, you know that we host two, not one, but two, count them, two fantasy football leagues, paid leagues for which you can partake in with your favorite hosts of the Magic Our Way podcast, as well as y'all in two different leagues, Cash Mountain and Big Cheddar Mountain. Who knows?
Yes.
Do we have enough more people this year? We have to add another mountain to the range or something like that?
Oh, man, there's always another Disney mountain to explore.
We could definitely build that. So,
yes.
If you are interested, if you like football as well, American football, in case we have any international listeners, we're not talking about...
Yes, we don't do soccer here.
But Americans call soccer or football.
But, if we get in a large enough European following, we will totally do
I'm sure there's fantasy soccer. Or fantasy football,
it's gotta
call it. I mean, I would love to do it, sure.
Ted Lasso is going to be my first draft pick.
What about Pele? How far does he go down?
I think he's retired.
I'll go with Messi. Lionel Messi.
All right.
Yeah. Because he's Messi.
That sounds good at Messi.
But anyway, I digress. We're talking about American. In Spanish, was it football norteamericano? Yeah, something like that, which I learned in Spanish class. But yeah, fantasy football, man. If you guys want to play, let us know. Shoot us an email. joe@magicourway.com. Let us know. All the people that have been in the leagues in the past, I'll reactivate the leagues, and you'll probably get like a notification from ESPN. We do it through ESPN that lets you know that the league's been reactivated, and I'll post messages in there as well as in the Facebook group if you want to return. Usually we've had a lot of people returning, so don't let that stop you if you want to join. Nope. Just let us know. Like I said, we'll add another mountain to that mountain range, man. Yeah, fantasy football, man, just around the corner. By the time you hear this, The following week will be August, and it's all about preseason and all different kind of stuff.
And don't think like we know anything because none of us have won a championship in I'm going on like elite 5 years?
Yeah, never
And
won.
I think I'm the best of this bunch, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Like I don't think either one of y'all have ever won a championship.
I've never won.
right?
The only Lee won.
Yeah,
he was the
yeah,
only
Lee
one
won.
out of all.
Yeah,
of us.
Lee's,
He was on the show. Yeah,
Lee's invited to come back. Come on.
yeah. Lee's
Why
definitely
not?
invited
Yeah,
to
he
come back.
totally get a
Absolutely.
piece.
But yeah, look, man, if you want to join us, please let us know. Show at magicour.com. It's always a lot of fun. We get to chat. We do live drafts with each other. We'll send you the Zoom link, and we'll draft players, and we can chat with you guys, and just have a lot of fun with it. And it's low stakes. The money fee, I think it was like $20 or 25.
$20, but we used to have a free league, but I mean, some people wanted to
Yeah, they want to
win
pay
money
for it.
that we
So.
ended up.
Yeah, and it's not so much money towards like, oh my god, I got to take this serious.
Right.
It's just a little bit of change,
Yeah.
just to wet your whistle at
Maybe,
times, and just
yeah.
to keep it interesting.
You
you know?
could get an ice cream float with it.
Right.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
keep you engaged, because if it's
Yeah.
free,
It's
sometimes
fun.
people kind of forget about us,
Right.
and it's not as enjoyable. But of course, if you got any placement in the leagues last year, if you're listening to this, your league dues are covered, so you're totally fine there. So please do. That was part of your winnings. So yeah, we'd love to hear it, man. Fantasy football, the weekend fantasy leagues, both Big Cheddar Mountain as well as Cash Mountain. Come join us.
Or you could just be a Patreon subscriber and get it all for free.
Yeah, go to patreon.com/Magic Our Way, and you could just support us there, man.
And we will take care of your entrance fee.
Yeah, your interest free is automatically covered with that membership.
And you get
Patreon.
fantasy football advice.
Definitely get in touch with us if you're interested. It'll be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed that discussion about all the Snow White stuff. Hey, look, if you want to learn more about us, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you will find our social media links, past episodes, and more. Also, please get in touch with us to share your opinions about this material. You could do it through the following ways. First, shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com, or you can call or send us a text message at 1-815-MOWEEKEND. That is 1-815.
Mo Weekend.
That is 669-4226. And of course, if you're on social media and stuff and you follow us, you can also send us messages there direct. Slide into our DMs, as the kids say. Just slide up in there and give us some messages.
Woo, smooth.
We had some listeners do that, and we'll do that in the next guest services segment for sure. But anyway, we have a couple people do things outside of the podcast. First of all, Eli, as he mentioned in the show, does things with comics. What you got, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do. As always, I appreciate any support by going to the website, www.ivorycomics.com, where you get to see all the good projects I got, such as Project Geisha, who is still Japanese. But I mean, look, if you want to pay me $100K to change the race and the height and all that stuff, give me the $100K first, and I'll redraw the whole book for you.
Spoken like a true whore.
There you go.
American Geisha?
Slide up into that. Yeah. Gonna say, if you're going to change it, pay me first. But yes, American Geisha.
He's your private dancer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Dancer for money.
Only your buddy will do. Yeah, so I'm about to say private geisha.
Private Geisha.
This dude's in my brain.
Geisha is private.
Yeah, well, it's a good story. So yeah, there's Project Geisha. There's
Private Geisha.
Savages.
No, turn it into Private Geisha.
I might work on that.
Yeah, just do that. That's your next series.
And this is Molly Damn. All the work is fully colored. There's only an ad for this podcast, so that's pretty much more content than any of the big publishers out there.
Because you're an independent comic book publisher.
I am.
And writer and drawer, all the stuff.
So in addition to that, of course, there is interviews and blog posts and a link to the Magic Our Way podcast, so you never miss a beat, insight, trip report, joke, all the good stuff. That's what we do. So yes, please visit ivorycomics.com. On social media, you can find me there on Facebook. Eli H. Ivory is where you'll find me there as long as you're a person. It's lovely to meet you, but if you're a bot, do not need to greet you. Need my credit score to go up, and no bots help me with that. Okay. Also on Facebook, you go to the Project Geisha page there. So that's facebook.com/Project Geisha. Instagram, I'm there, post up hearts and likes. And I follow a few people on there and, post up reels from the podcast. So you can always get your heads up on that one by following me right there at EIV504. And of course, on Twitter, I can be found at Hancock10166. So if you appreciate the madness, then you just bringing me the gladness. Thank you very much. I'm looking for that 100 grand. I'm about to change the ball. Be a
you're just gonna get that
half Japanese, half black, half white man, woman, transmute.
Yes,
100 grand, huh?
Change that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody's just gonna mail you the candy bar.
It's gonna be like Captain Planet.
You just get a candy bar.
All the people show up.
Yeah,
who get a vigilante for everybody out there.
No, man, you're just getting a candy bar. A little red wrapper.
I can't change nobody for a candy bar.
That you said 100 grand. You know.
Well, then 200 grand. They made that a candy
they
bar.
They give you 2 candy bars.
I like that. You only get half the gin in there for that. Put me to work.
Hey guys, look, if you want to book a vacation, man, you could do it through Rachel of Wishful Wanderings Travel. Rachel, how do they do this?
I would be honored to help your family book your vacation to Disney destinations, Universal, cruise lines, and major hotel brands around the world. Booking with me is at no extra cost to you. The cost of a travel agent is built into the cost of your vacation, whether you use one or not. And when you book with me, a little bit of your trip comes back to support the podcast and the fan community here at Magic Our Way. You can reach me at Rachel, Rachel, at magicourway.com, or you can find me at R, the letter R, Family Magic, so Our Family Magic, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also give me a call or a text. My phone number is 978-432-WISH. Reach out today and let's make some magic with your family vacation.
So if you want to access all the info we just mentioned, go to magicourway.com/about us. Also, if you want to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast, go to patreon.com/Magic Our Way. There you'll find 6 awesome tiers to support this show. Any way in which you could support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to thank you for being a loyal listener, and we also love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So, Mohegans, we say Kwaharini. My name is Kevin.
I'm Danny.
Magic out.